Anybody notice LeBron last night? Great until the fourth when he couldn't play because he was exhausted because he's an old man who needs lots and lots.
That's not true. That's not even what happened. You're just lying to the audience. I can't even let you get to the question if the premise is going to be built on a castle of lies. But go ahead. Sorry.
Well, my whole point is Kawhi chose L.A. for hoops, specifically sat down. I want Lou, I want the bench, I want Paul, or I'm not coming. LeBron said, I'll come to L.A., I'll figure out the hoops later. And I think in a world of sports, I want Lamar Jackson to succeed, not Baker. I want the guy all in to succeed. And I'm rooting for Kawhi over LeBron now. Is that bad?
Yeah, no, so I heard your opening monologue, and I thought you raised a really fair point that even when a guy reaches GOAT status in his profession, you don't love it when he starts showing interests other than his profession. By the way, before I forget, congrats on that restaurant you just opened.
Thank you.
Looks awesome, Burger and Grill. I'm very excited to go there. But as we were saying about people showing interests outside of what they're the greatest in the world at, now to LeBron James. The idea that you are saying you want Kawhi, you're rooting for Kawhi because he is showing a dedication to basketball, meanwhile LeBron is not. You know what was really cool about LeBron last night? He played. You know what's going to suck about Kawhi tonight? He's going to be wearing a suit. I mean, the idea, LeBron in year 17 is averaging a career low 35 minutes per game. Kawhi Leonard in year 8 averaged a career high 34 minutes per game. This year he's back on his resting pace of 30 minutes and skipping 25% of the games. That's the guy you want to reward. It is inexplicable to me. Let's start with this. Show up to work as often as possible. As long as I've been following you, Colin Cowherd, not a lot of sick days.
No.
Not a lot of extended vacations.
Nope.
Kawhi Leonard is 28 years old in year 9, and he is skipping games before Paul George even gets back. LeBron James has more gray in his beard than you have in your head, and he is playing every single night for the number one defense in basketball, the number one team in basketball. I heard you say the Lakers to catch up with the Clippers. Catch up in what? They're better than them this year in every applicable category, and by the way, they still have the best player in the league.
That's a very good argument, very compelling, as always. You make that's why you do
it's
what
the
you
right
do.
argument.
Yeah, well, you do. Okay, now let's go to Cam. It is interesting. Now, I liked Andrew Luck more than you did. I like Dak more than you do. There are players that you like and I like. I think we both admit Dak can win games. I've always been a little bit more of a fan. I was more of a fan. On Cam Newton, I've always said he's Westbrook. He's remarkably talented. He's a superstar. His willingness to play hurt and play hard, I'll never question. But as basketball's become more about shooting, the game's moved away from Russ. And as football's become more precision, the game's sort of moved away from Cam. I think we have a perfect breakoff point. I don't know if Kyle Allen's the guy, but he's a hell of a transition. They pay him a nickel, meaning all these young players can get 2 or 3 free agents next year, and in a sloppy, choppy division, you move off Cam. My guess is you hate that.
Well, it's what's going to happen. You are correct that it's going to happen. I think it will be an enormous mistake for Carolina. Your criticisms of Cam are well-founded. The problem is this isn't a Drew Brees hurts his shoulder, we have Phillip Rivers waiting in the wings. Listen, I was in Houston when Kyle Allen was playing college football. I watched Kyle Allen go to Texas A&M and get beat out for the starting job. I watched him transfer, go to the University of Houston, and get beat out for the starting job. He then left school early to be undrafted. He then got cut by the Panthers, then cut by the Jets with their glorious quarterback depth chart. And now, the only argument for Kyle Allen is the team is winning. All the numbers are outside of the top 20 in football, and they seem to be rushing to get rid of Cam Newton. I would be afraid to give Cam a contract extension right now. But he's under contract next year for $20 million. Now, you're right. They are going to move off him. And either the Bears or the Titans, I'd say the Broncos, but Cam's far too good for John Elway to want him to play quarterback for him. One of those teams is going to sign Cam Newton and be better for it. And the Panthers are going to be drafting a quarterback in 2021. Because if Kyle Allen is the answer, the question is, name a mediocre backup quarterback, not a franchise quarterback.
I think that's reasonable and fair again. So far, you're 2 for 2. Listen, last year, and I said this as somebody that lived in Connecticut for 10 years, I said, I don't know how the Patriots won. They had no vertical threat. Gronk's old. Brady's older. This year, they're on a third-string kicker, a fourth-string left tackle, a backup center, and no Gronk. I don't think you can bury New England, though, because we know this sport is a chess match, and if they played Baltimore again, I would take them in Foxborough. Did you think there was anything more than, oh, damn, Lamar's fast, we've never faced him, we're over our skis, we're on the road, Baltimore's off a bye, or do you think it resonated beyond that?
Well, I'm not burying New England. Listen, I think this year the NFL does not have a favorite. I think, and I'm just going to list teams, but New England, Kansas City, Baltimore, Green Bay, New Orleans, San Francisco, Seattle. To me, you have 7 teams that are all like 10 to 15% to win the championship. I don't think any of the other teams, Houston, Philly, Dallas, Minnesota, the Rams, I don't think those are real contenders, but I think we have 7 teams that you can make a great case for any of the 7, and they all have flaws. My issue was New England was being elevated into a tier by itself because it had beaten the worst list of starting quarterbacks the league has ever had to offer. I was laughing. I was like, they've gotten to play every bad team in the league this year except for Cincinnati and Atlanta. And then I looked, they somehow still get to play Cincinnati later in the year. I couldn't believe it. Like, how did this happen? The Patriots finally had to play real NFL competition, and they weren't ready for it. That game was 17-0 en route to being 24-0 until former Patriot Cyrus Jones made a better play for the Pats than he ever made when he played for the Pats, when he muffed that punt and temporarily let them back in the football game. This is the worst Patriot offense we've seen since the Matt Castle year.
You're right.
And folks might have been slow to acknowledge it, but I think now they will finally acknowledge it. And you mentioned one thing that I think is wildly important, especially once the playoff begins. They are on their 3rd kicker. The New England Patriots had gone 25 uninterrupted years of Hall of Fame kicking. Vinatieri right into Gostkowski. Now they've got a Falk, I don't know his name, but he's not very good. And he's the guy that they replaced the other guy with. That's going to matter. Who are the other 2 teams in the AFC? Justin Tucker, one of the greatest kickers ever. Harrison Butker, one of the most accurate kickers this decade. I think that's a key point. And by the way, Tom Brady looked across the field against Baltimore and said, oh, that dude's better than me. He looked across the field last year at Patrick Mahomes and said, oh, that dude's better than me, but they were able to overcome it. Yeah, I'm not burying the Patriots, but I think right now they're the 3rd best team in the conference.
Well, thank you for the Herd Burger. Yes, my new place is open in Torrance, California. That was very kind of you. Yeah. You gave me a little gateway in to talk about it. Nick Wright, you're amazing. You made very...
Please, hold on real quick. If you're going to talk about it... Hold on, I'm sorry. I'm just letting you know. It's a long drive for me from New York City to Torrance, California. But I'm showing up, and I don't know if you watched The Sopranos, but you remember Tony at Vesuvio, how he had the endless tab?
Yeah.
I'm assigning myself to that. I'll be there often, I'll pay it never, but I'm going there at every chance I get. Thank you, Colin.
Thanks, Nick Wright. First things first. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.